He came out and went, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he reached the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not come into the time of trial." Then he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Then an angel from heaven appeared to him and gave him strength. In his anguish he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down on the ground. When he got up from prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping because of grief. At Gethsemane, the skirts of light grow wider in the immense dark, revealing the watchers at the gate. The women there, watching, seeing, awake, waiting without interfering, quiet in their humble love. While sleeping, men no longer attend. The women focus wholly on the depths of human experience. Helpless, baffled, marginalized, with a precious generosity, they minister with eyes and ears. They are waiting with patient attention for the insight not yet given, waiting and never relinquishing. The ability to feel, never losing the capacity for compassion or the strength to hope. Waiting and holding on to their vision, forever at the gate, forever ready. But the story won't let us stay in the garden. We must follow. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the governor's headquarters, and they gathered the whole cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, and after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on his head. They put a reed in his right hand, and knelt before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat on him, and took the reed and struck him on the head. After mocking him, they stripped him of the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. Here, where 3 crosses are stark against the sky, where people come and go in malice, cruelty, and abject desolation, is no place or time for objectivity, no place for reason or logic. Here is humanity, stripped bare, vulnerable. See the human story. It's written on a body that has been kissed and anointed with love and sweet perfume, has eaten bread and wine and washed feet. Look, blood and excreta, sweat and spit, flesh and tissue, fragility, a life, a human body brutalized, contorted and distorted, spit upon, rejected. Don't avert your gaze. Close your eyes or hide in familiar washed and perfumed language with comforting doctrines. Here our elaborate theologies clank like empty buckets. There is no high purpose or meaning to human cruelty. The killing of innocent people all this brokenness, all this devastation of what is most precious. Life isn't about meaning, it's about connections. Reaching out, not reaching up. There is no religious or moral rule to equal the demands of love. God of all love and every truth, help us to look with open eyes, see with open hearts. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice,
Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani,
which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? That huge why, held deep inside us all, or spat out occasionally, isn't an intellectual question. It's a cry of agony. There are no answers, only the waiting, the walking alongside, the being here. Only the giving out of what we do not have, the love that comes as we give it. The incredible risk of love demands more of us than easy answers and pretty prayers. But all of his acquaintances, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance, watching these things. Mary, at the foot of the cross, waits to hold her dead son in her arms. Who would dare to look into her secret eyes? Who now would dare to sing Magnificat? Her still body is the shape of a multitude of grieving women. Death does not dry her tears. They wash over history, into the places words will never reach. There will always be waiting. Waiting with the dying. Waiting at the bedside of a sick child. Waiting at a peace vigil. Waiting for news of missing sons and daughters, husbands and wives, mothers or fathers. Waiting amid illness, abuse, oppression. Waiting at the gates. Waiting at the place of desolation, the human rubbish dump. There will always be the watching, the standing alongside through the long night, preparing food for the weary, caring for the children, encouraging with a word, a smile, a hug, presence and compassion. Not ministering to, but being with. Some women of the company watch with the angels from their own place somewhere at the margins, so that the margins are becoming a new centre. Hopes and dreams men call foolish nonsense are leading not to chapel or church, temple or synagogue, but to the foot of a cross, to wonder at a story ordinary enough to live by, to wait silently for men to outgrow their madness and the sun to rise again. They also serve who only stand and wait. Weep over injustice, rejoice in goodness, love outrageously, let uncertainty flow on the stillness of our bodies. For we know not what we do, nor what we can do. God of all love and every truth, help us to look with open eyes, see with open hearts. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said,
Father, into your hands I commend my spirit.
Having said this, he breathed his last. When the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God and said, Certainly this man was innocent. We are stretched between the motionless point we watch, the cry of humanity, and the common task to make a better world. Never turning away from suffering, always able to see what is and imagine how things could be different. Holding hands with those who wait, family, friend, stranger, and some from whom we might recoil. We seek words good enough to tell a story to live by. Words like love, fragility, vulnerability, uncertainty, and solidarity. We wait and look again, not so much at what we believe, but how we see, hear, and understand what it means to be alive and open to that which is deepest within us, that which responds to life, to reinvent, to remake the world. We know we are in the dark, but perhaps that is a good place to be, a good place from which to tell of ongoing and energizing hope and love strong enough to banish fear and bear regrets. What do we expect to achieve? We don't know. Waiting at the foot of the cross is being on the edge of something not quite revealed. We're still in the dark. But hope isn't about expectations. It's about surprises. Dandelions on dung heaps, daisies in stone walls, the hopeful energy of creativity's seedbed nourishes the silent outrage of spring. Transformation begins with people of love, discernment, joy, hope. With compassion as the only way to grow. The earth is waiting. In the caring and the waiting, we are one with all growing, living things. People in the dark who feel the coming of the dawn.